Right, so ladies, and I'm going to address everybody in the tense of ladies because you are taking over on Wednesday nights. Welcome to Wednesday Night Roundtable. Tonight's roundtable starts off back when I was about, I think, 12 or 13 years old. And I'm not even going to explain the concept first of all. I'm just going to take you through the story first. And I'm going to ask one of you guys, I'm going to put you on the spot, okay? And I'm going to ask you what you think the concept means relative to what it is that we do inside of our transformation. Okay, so taking you back right the way to about 12 or 13 years old, we were on a holiday in Tenerife. Now in Tenerife, there are these beautiful black sand beaches, which are great until it's hot, because it's black sand beach and the sand gets monumentally hot. So as beautiful as it looks on these beaches with this just flush, gorgeous black sand, as soon as you step on it, you kind of like start doing this little ha 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 thing, dancing around and trying to get down to the sea. So that was the first obstacle to overcome. The next thing that we had to overcome was obviously the blistering heat while we were in there, because I think we were in peak summer. So there was this sort of like backwards forwards thing going on. So black beaches were lovely, but you burnt your feet all the time, and then the temperature was up like late 30s and stuff. So it was kind of like in and out of the sun all the time, sun cream on and all this stuff. And we went on the beach because we went away with my cousins, aunties, uncles, and all sorts of things. So about 10 or 12 of us there. And we love going down to the beach. We had like rubber dinghies, we had body boards and rubber rings and all this stuff. Like, and we used to love the inflatable scene and stuff. So we'd done like the inflatable rings and stuff. They weren't really doing much for us, and that the waves weren't particularly big. We tried the dinghy. We got bored, you know, like flip it on its back and you just lie on it like a lilo and go and like paddle out, and you get bored of that because you're the only person on the dinghy and stuff, and it's not fun anymore. So we've done that. Then we're like, let's get the bodyboards out. Let's see when we start bodyboarding. So we're catching these waves, and these waves are like, you know, about 4 foot high off the ground. They're nothing really big. They're sort of like just over waist height. But for bodyboarding, it's great. You get a good paddle on sort of thing. Or even trying to like stand up on the bodyboards like we're surfing in the end, because we're only young. We haven't been on a surfboard or anything like that. We're not proper like seaside geeks. So we're bodyboarding away. This is awesome. Like, some of us catching waves. We were even standing up on this like half-length bodyboard. So we're getting to the point the waves taking us, and because they're about 3 or 4 foot high, they're like pushing us down the beach. We're jumping up, we're like, yeah, we're going surfing. It's great. Everybody's having a great time. And we go back down the beach the following day. Wow, those waves get bigger. But, you know, we're only kids. We're pretty brave, you know. Bigger waves means better, aka bodyboard surf time, right? So we ran down into the beach. Bang! The first 7 foot wave hit me like a train, and I went flying back up the beach. I was like, "Ooh, well, that was different." Okay, so we'll put the board down. We'll get used to the waves first. So we're tumbling in, and we get there, and it's where the break's coming in. So we're trying to get past this break, and these waves now are up here. They are 7, 8 feet tall. I have never seen anything like this because we are in Britain. The biggest things we get, unless you go out in a torrential storm, which I'm not being funny, nobody does that, is like here. Okay, if you go out in a torrential storm, yes, you'll probably get the same height waves, but who wants to go out in a torrential storm? It's ridiculous. We were in gorgeous sunshine, and the wind had just picked up a little bit. These monsters were coming over our head up here somewhere. And being 12 or 13, I didn't really know a lot about, you know, wide stance, core stability, and, you know, judo or anything, so I couldn't really attack these things. I didn't really know about diving through them, so I was kind of like that, and it just kind of like kept smashing me down. My cousins, even my uncle went in there. God, that was hilarious. We got like some old VHS video of him somewhere. He just got pummeled by this wave, and he was just literally about to stand up. The next one crashing down, which I know is really dangerous because people can actually die with stuff like that. But we knew he was all right because he's like at the edge of the beach. He wasn't getting swept down with it or anything. He was just getting knocked the hell down. And then the next wave would come. By the time he was just sort of like, ooh, all this water was coming out of his face, and his hair's all over him, and stuff, sand everywhere. Like his shorts starting to fall down and everything. Like, it was just great. And we just struggled intensely to get through these waves. And do you know what, in the end, like, I don't know whether it was my cousin or my brother, they were like, let's dive through the waves so we can get to the other side, which was great, but we didn't have the bodyboard again. So we had to get out. As I'm getting out, I get picked up by this monster. And it was one of those where we were kind of like looking, when do we time it? When do we time it? When do we time it? kind of looks okay. And as I'm like running through these waves, trying to get out and trying to like jump with them and stuff, this monster comes, like nearly twice the size of everything it's coming for, picks me up, lifts me over the top of this wave and slams me down on the only part of the rocky beach. And I actually genuinely have a scar still down here on my hip where it's just launched me down on the beach. Wow. So we get out and we're like, we'll take a bit of a break. We'll let these monsters die down a little bit, see if we can get any less. They didn't die down, but we got the bodyboards out again, and it was just a disaster. It was a joke. And in the end, we were all, well, I know I was a little bit scared in the end. It was kind of like this little bit of fear. I was like, I can do it without a board, but having to like hold on to my 10-pound bodyboard because like I've blown most of my holiday's budget because you don't really save money to go on holiday, and then you get there and there's like all this cool shit to buy, and you're like, damn it, I bought this bodyboard because I was wanting to be cool and have a bodyboard down the beach. Now I haven't really got anything left for the rest of the holiday, so you kind of don't want to lose it in a wave on like day 2. So I was kind of holding on to that, and then I wasn't really catching the waves. So I was taking in like lungfuls of seawater all the time. I was like, this is not fun. I'm kind of getting a little bit scared because I'm getting thrown around quite a lot again. And this is where it kind of leads me into the moral of the story. And I want you guys to see what you think I mean by this when I say this. And the moral is, it's easy to surf or bodyboard small waves. It's easy to surf or bodyboard small waves, or when the waves are small. Yeah? So I'll say it one more time. It's easy to bodyboard or surf when the waves are small. Does anyone know why I've told you that story and why it is 100% applicable to what we do? Does anyone want to have a go, or do you want me to pick somebody? Is anyone feeling brave?
So I think you're telling us that it's easy when the going's good, and what's hard is failure and getting back up, and when life takes over and it's not easy, but that's when we have to use the tools that we've got, the tools that you've given us.
100% that. It's easy to surf small waves. Yeah? When the waves are coming in, when you know what's coming in, when your day works out perfectly, when you can jump up on that board, come down to the beach, and when the waves aren't any different, the wind's not going to turf you off, the swell's not going to pull you back out, it's easy to surf. It's easy to make decisions when we're not emotionally charged, when we're not triggered, when life doesn't get in the way, when a curveball isn't thrown at us, when an 8-foot wave doesn't pick us up and throw us down on a rocky beach. Yeah, but it's exactly in those times when, for me, I was emotionally triggered by fear, that if I hadn't have even attempted those waves, guess what may have happened to me for the rest of my life? I might have had a fear of water. Because that one time, I had no idea. I was faced with something new, which got me outside of my comfort zone. And unknowingly to me, not knowing anything about like facing your fears, because I was only young, if I hadn't have done it, who knows? What story would I be telling myself right now? Would I even like going to the beach? Would I even like water? Would I have a fear of water? I'd be worried about the sea. This applies 100% to you ladies and gentlemen if you're watching this back. Because when it gets tough, when the waves get bigger, that's when you need to be able to surf. Because if you can't, you're going to get picked up and thrown down on those rocks every fucking time. That's what's going to happen. Okay? Nick, what's up, girl? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry for that.
No, don't panic. It's all right. So, guys, it's easy to surf small waves, but what's not easy is still surfing when the waves get bigger. Okay? That analogy applies insatiably to us, as we've just explained, because when the going gets tough, when life throws curveballs at you, when You are asked to do several things outside of maybe your remit, inside of your job. When you need to prep food, when you need to do all these other things, you have to step up. Because if you don't, guys, then you're not going to be able to surf, are you? It's that simple. And then it's all going to come crashing down. You're going to start telling yourself stories, excuses, reasons why you can't. Like I just said, I could have got thrown off that bodyboard, slammed down onto that beach, and told myself for the rest of my life, it's too dangerous to go in the water. That's it. Game over. And for a lot of you guys, you need to understand that you're going to have these things come along. You're going to have days where you think the universe is plotting against you. Where the waves don't just feel 10 or 12 feet high, twice the height. It feels like the whole sea has risen up and is trying to pound you down to the opposite side to China. And what you've got to do is make sure that every time that happens, you take a step back immediately. Why am I being tested right now? How am I being tested? What's the story that's evolving at this moment in time that's telling you, don't do it or do it? And this goes back to this conscious decision making we've talked about over the last couple of weeks. Yeah? You need to make sure that when the waves get bigger, you're able to surf. It's a great analogy. I think it really, really fits everything that we're about right now. Everybody has been through some form of relapse within the last few weeks, maybe even a month, a bit longer. I know I have. I've had moments during the day where I've just said, why is this happening to me right now? Of all the days, why not tomorrow? Why not yesterday? Why today does it all have to come in? Why does that wave have to pick me up and slam me down on the beach when I already feel like I've been bashed against the rocks several times? And the answer to that is, you're losing your shit. You're losing sight of the outcome. You're allowing each one of these smaller individual things, when if you handled them individually, you could take on the chin. You could take rolling off the board. You could take having to swim out a little bit further. You could take being ducked under once and getting up and jumping on the board again. But when it all comes together and it's relentless, or it feels relentless, you get too emotionally charged here. And that's when you need to take that step back and say, what's the outcome? And for me and each and every one of you that are sat here right now, the outcome is happiness and fulfillment. That's it. Because when we're happier, when the waves are smaller, it's easy to surf, right? And that is the point of tonight, guys. Is making sure that you take control of the waves. Wait, hold on. Control your own height of the waves? Yes. Just like Nikki said before, I give you a toolkit. And all you do is select the appropriate tool at that moment in time. The first tool, the pre-frame. I'm going to go over this because there seems to be some sort of confusion around the pre-frame. The pre-frame is for one reason and one reason only. To alter your state and energy for the better, up, positive. Okay? If it doesn't alter your state for positivity, you're doing something wrong. That is the only purpose and reason for a pre-frame. Now imagine that you have got out of bed and the first thing you've done is checked your phone. You've got a message off a loved one saying they're hurt, injured, hospital. How's that going to alter your state? Downhill straight away. Panic. Fight and flight kicks in. Yeah? Now imagine, right, I know this sounds horrible, right? You got the same message, but instead of you reacting to it instantaneously, getting up and making mistakes, being fucking useless when you go and see that person because you got there 10 or 20 minutes early before visiting times anyway, you weren't allowed in or whatever it is. Imagine if you'd have taken that first 15 or 20 minutes of the day for you and not seen that message. You've pre-framed, your energy's up here. You're thinking clearly and you are on point. Then you look at your phone and you check and you get that message. Right, what do I need to do now to be the best possible help and support for this person right now? That's the difference in mindset. And that's obviously an extremity of case. Yeah? The best case scenario is nobody needs your help. Nobody needs hospital. Nobody needs any medical attention or anything like that, but it can happen. Now, if that doesn't happen on a daily basis, that's obviously a great thing, but then there are other things to firefight. There's the dishes, there's food prep, there's kids, there's school runs, and all this other shit that we have to deal with every day. But you know you've got to deal with it every day. Every single day. It's the same thing happens. And it can grind on you. Like a big ass pestle and mortar. Winding away at you, grinding you down. Okay? But the same thing happens every single day. So why does it grind us down? Because we don't control the height of the waves. When the first wave hits us, we get out the fucking sea and we turn around and go and look at the height of the waves. We don't just stand in there and go, I wonder when the next one's going to bash me over the head and throw me on the rocks. We get out, we turn around at the beach, not in the water, and we look at the waves. What's coming next? What's likely to piss me off, make me angry, upset, resented, annoyed? You deal with that proactively, not reactively. Because otherwise what happens? You get a chain reaction take place, don't you? Oh, now this. Oh, now that. Something else. And that's what happens. So instead of you just dealing with your normal day as you would, you end up firefighting or feeling like you're firefighting. So the normal day that you deal with, the little waves all the time that you just surf and surf and surf and surf, suddenly become a major issue. Excuse you, miss. Suddenly they become a major issue. And actually what you're looking to do is take that step back after you've pre-framed. Your pre-frame, cannot stress this enough. It's the most important thing you will ever do to alter your energy and state for the best case scenario inside of the day. You might not be able to control the tsunami that comes flying in, but you can control what happens after that first wave. It might be the tsunami that knocks you down first, but after that point, you get out, you take a step to the edge of the beach, you turn around, you judge the next waves coming. What's coming next? What do I need to be prepared for? What state do I need to be in for the next wave? Not just, I'll grind it out, miss workouts, miss my nutrition, throw everything off course, disregard the monumental toolkit that's been developed over the last 15 years nearly, because I feel like I should firefight. I feel like I should take another wave and get beaten the shit out of on a single day, which then turns into a major story. I'm stressed. I'm tired. I can't cope. There's too much going on. All from one very simple mistake. Not stepping out the water, turning around and saying what wave is supposed to come next. The next wave is picking the kids up from school. Not only will you pick up the kids from school, they might be wired as hell because some kid was passing around sweets in the last lesson. How do you know? You don't. But if you take a step back and say, right, what could we be dealing with? What does the height of the wave look like? Does it look like the kids are coming out on pogo sticks, but they're actually just stood on their shoes? Yeah? Proactive, not reactive. And that is exactly as Transformers, how we go through each and every single day. We pre-frame, and we utilize our toolkit to control the height of the waves where we can, If a tsunami comes and knocks us down and throws us onto the rocks, we get out of the water, we turn around, we face the waves, and we reflect immediately. We get back in position to relapse fast. Because guess what? If the waves don't look that bad, it was a one-off, you get straight back in the water. So ladies, I muted you all. Not because I'm rude. But has anyone got anything to add to that? Has anyone got their own stories surrounding that message? How they get caught up and triggered inside of their own day, and it happens without you even knowing. This was the biggest problem I had on this journey. Sometimes you can't even see what's going on because you're so emotionally triggered. That's why I say, once the first wave hits you, you have to be able to step back and start to recognize the decisions that you make to be able to make it a momentary relapse, a one wave relapse, so you can jump on the board and go straight back out on the next one, if it's okay. Does that all make sense? Good. So ladies, does anyone have anything to add to that? Does anyone want to say anything? Does anyone have any stories? Everybody's muted right now, so if you want to say something, just unmute yourselves.
Sorry, I would like to add something, if possible.
Of course.
I think I really like the story. And I think when now, after stepping in the program and being so many months with this, developing this kind of mindset, personally, I like these big waves, I must say. I think they are very important.
Yes, they are.
So I appreciate that. Before it was always like stressful or scary, or sometimes it is. I mean, last week was like, goodness, kill me. But I appreciate, because you realize how good, in which you're in a very good position always. And sometimes you need like something to remind you and also to challenge you in that way. So
that's why I said you can't see the big wave coming. I didn't say keep looking out to sea and watch out for the tsunami, did I? I said the big wave's going to come and hit you because you can't see it coming. Like we said before, it could be a message of somebody saying, you know, I've tripped and fell and I've broken my ankle or something silly, yeah? Or whatever it is. You can't see those big waves coming. And exactly like you've just said, Ellie, it's testing your comfort zone. It's teaching you, even though we're going to be reactive in those situations, it's teaching you to be the calm inside that storm. How useful are you to everybody else if you're the most hysterical person inside the group? Doesn't work, does it? Yeah? And that's why that's hugely important that you've added that as well, Ellie. Because we can't see the big waves coming. They just knock us down. But it's a warning sign. Not only is it something to test our comfort zones and say, be ready, something else might come. It's also an opportunity to step back and say, let's not just stand in the water and keep getting hammered down in case this is one of several waves. Yeah? Excellent. Nick, you've unmuted yourself, girl. You want to say something?
Yes, please.
Excellent.
I've had a really stressful day.
Today?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep. I'm waiting for an occupational health report.
Okay.
And Mum wanted to read it. But every time I went into the email and typed in the access code and my date of birth, it said it wasn't readable again.
Yeah.
Mum was just getting irate with me, and I was trying to solve it and I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And so then Mum's saying, oh, ring this, ring that. Why aren't you doing that? And I couldn't deal with it. And then I spoke to someone who says, oh, you can only access it twice and then it blocks you out, which is
confidentiality probably for your, because it's a sensitive report for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the time, makes no sense, right? And,
yeah.
And what was your waves today?
my mum just battering me down.
Yeah. And that, ladies, is how hard it can be, because it can be somebody that you love and you care about battering you, literally coming at you, wave after wave after wave after wave. And sometimes through no fault of their own, through care. But it doesn't help in your scenario and situation, does it, Nick?
No.
So let's do a little reflection on that straight away. Let's do a little bit of individual coaching. What would you do differently, having heard some of the stories that have gone on tonight and what I've talked about? I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit right now, okay? So it's okay if you don't have an answer to this, Nick, okay?
I would have sorted my shit out earlier.
What do you mean by that? Because I love that. What would you mean by that?
I didn't get started till 10 o'clock this morning.
Okay, so you need to get a faster start on the day. Okay, that's good. And what about?
Then I rang people and they said they'd ring me back and they weren't ringing me back, and then my mum rings me and she's like, "Oh, have you sorted that out?" And I was like, "No," because I'm just like waiting on other people. And then when they do get back to me, they're like, "Oh, you weren't here. You know, you got the wrong occupational health." And so I've wasted like 2 hours of the morning waiting for them to call me back.
Going around in circles.
Yeah.
So my suggestion for you, Nick, okay, if you come across a situation scenario like this, and this is what I always do as well, okay, if I find myself going round this circle, doing the same things, I mean, this is the definition of insanity, according to Albert Einstein, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Yeah? So what I do is I put a number on it, a small number as well. I'm going to do it 2, 3, or 4 times, never more than 4 times, because I know my switch goes at 5, and my switch is the fuck it switch. It's like, no, fuck it, it's done. It must be broke. And then it just goes above, and that's when the emotional triggering happens for me. So it's 2, 3, or 4. It's very different for everybody else, and this is what's beautiful about this journey, is starting to understand and know who you are, your triggers that you have, the stimulus, the emotion, yeah? And what I do personally, Nick, and this will be great for you too, is to say in a situation like that, you're going to do this twice, or 3 times, or 4 times, tops, knowing that after that point, you're going to start to get frustrated, and that's it. You're going to take at least a couple of hours away from it. Go and do something completely different. Do some exercise, go for a walk, prep some food, do anything that almost gets you back into a pre-frame state. Now, I appreciate for a lot of you, and me too, sometimes, well, actually, that's a lie. A lot of the time, I'm at work. So I can't just go, "Sorry, everyone, I'm just going out for a walk." So what you do is you change task, change priority. Is this making sense, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah? So literally drop it like a rock. Gone. Doesn't exist for 2 hours. You have to be able to leave the emotion when you leave the task. And then if your mum rings, answer the phone. Is this about the occupational therapy report? Yes. I'm not sorting it yet. I'll phone you at 2 o'clock. Yeah?
So she was here in the house.
Oh, okay. Get out of my face. No, I'm joking. So it's creating that space, personally, professionally, over the phone, whatever it might be, and just saying, "Not right now." And this again comes down to rule number 1 inside of this group: honesty. "Mum, right now, you're really triggering me. You're upsetting me. You're causing a lot of confusion because I can't figure out what's going on. I need to stop. Do you realize the health implications if you continue to stress me out?" openly and honestly. That's for you personally, that is, Nick. And for everybody else, this comes back to the other principle. Do you remember me saying about this the other week? FBI, feelings, behavior, impact. If it's a person that is knocking you down, smashing you down, the feelings I have, the feelings I have right now are a result of this behavior. And the impact, if you continue, will be this. It's not you telling them off and saying, if you continue to be naughty, I'm going to bash you over the head with a brick or something. It's, if you continue this behavior, you're going to upset me. We're going to fall out. And it will be an argument, not a collision. Okay? So honesty in that situation. And say, we will revisit this in an hour. Control the state and the frame. That is so, so important. Okay? And first of all, you've got to be able to control your own state to be able to control the frame, which is whoever you're speaking to or the situation that you're in at that moment in time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. Do you think that'd help next time?
Well, yeah. But I only have like 2 days to amend the report, and I wanted to amend the report. And then my mum's stressing that I'd lose my job, and so I was getting really stressed.
Mm-hmm. But the trigger to your emotion was your mother, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then I feel guilty because she's always been there for me.
Yeah, but don't feel guilty, Nick. Feel guilty for not having stopped that scenario because your mum probably feels guilty for upsetting you. The guilt that you should feel is for not having stopped it sooner. Yeah? Because if you just said, Mum, let's stop this right now. I don't want to get into an argument because we both want the same outcome, don't we? We both want to know and see this report. I can't figure it out right now. I'm getting really stressed and upset. Can we go and do A, B, or C instead? Just for an hour? And then I promise I'll sort this out. Would that diffuse the situation?
Yeah.
And would she have felt better as well? Because she probably feels rotten for upsetting you as well, Nick, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you feel rotten because you're arguing with your mum, who's always been there for you. So again, ladies, this, for everybody, this reinforces, nip this all in the bud. What's the outcome? Whenever you have these arguments, collisions, no matter whether it's a wave of a person, whether it's a wave of something uncontrollable, whether it's a wave at work that's come and knocked you down, what's the outcome? But the only way to do that, step back onto the beach, turn around, look at the water, that's your reflection. Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Does that help, Nick?
Yeah.
Good, I'm glad. Do you feel better?
Yeah.
Good. And that's what this is all about, guys, perspective lens. Okay? It's so easy for me, not being in your scenario and in your situation, to be able to tell you these things. But the reason it's easy for me to do is because I have obviously been there in these situations and been very emotionally charged, we'll call it, okay, and had arguments, not collisions and things like that. But it's because of these systems that we've built over the last 10 to 15 years now, the tens of thousands of pounds that I spent into mentorship, which has given me my own perspective lens and the ability to be able to take a step back and say to you guys, what about this? What about that? And ask the right questions. And what you guys are learning to do as transformers is ask the right question. Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. So ladies, would anybody like to add anything else? No. Excellent. Ladies, thank you very much for coming and spending a wonderful, well-lit, beautifully lit, I might add, shaved head. Thank you, Catherine, for noticing that Wednesday evening on the round table.